The following is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to part 3 of What If Bakugo Died. Last time we left Inko on our way to the memorial service, and 3 members of the Todoroki family began much needed therapy. Those 3 are gonna have to put in the work on that front, and their doctor informed Enji as much. We'll pick up in the car on the way to said memorial. The children are well dressed, and we see Tenko holding Inko's hand. Are you sure you're up for this, Inko? There's going to be a lot of people there, and that will hate you or want you to drop dead. Inko took a moment to herself. She even made a point of taking the helmet off. If I'm recognized, and that's a big if there, sister, what are they gonna do? I'm surrounded by some of Japan's greatest heroes. I have as much right to mourn as they do. Dagger counters went on. Inko took that as cue to put it back in the box. Toshinori looked to Inko from the opposite end of the limo. Well, that's all well and good, sweetheart. But if you think, even for a second, that you're under emotional duress, please let us know. We're here for your safety as well as everyone around you. I don't need to remind you of your situation, but at the same time, I have to play devil's advocate here. You're a walking nuke, love, and sometimes we have to treat you as such. Were any other set of heroes in charge of this, they would have turned this limo around. But we're your family. And as you said, we intend to mourn with you. Trust that if it comes down to it, I'm knocking you out. And Toshinori hesitated, but Nana brought it home by pulling something out from underneath the seat. And he'll be putting you this. In Nana's hands was some giant briefcase. It was quite sturdy and made out of what looked to be lead. It even had the same modules that are on Inko's bed, albeit smaller, while they were greater in number to make up for that fact. Perhaps it was a prototype of sorts. But she's a smart Kiki and knew what it was for the second she saw it.
Good. They came prepared.
Tenko and Fuyumi were aghast at what was in Nana's hands. Grandma, how could you? She was tearing up a bit. Fuyumi, however, was glaring at the adults and holding Inko's hand and even tighter. And the temperature dropped drastically. Oh boy, she was pissed. I don't read the standard MHA manga, well, much. And last I checked, Fuyumi and Natsuo's quirks were unnamed ice-based quirks, so let's play with Fuyumi's a bit, yeah? Since she does have small splotches of red in her hair anyway, well, just give me this. You know what can be cold? And I mean so cold, it burns. I'm taking a liberty here and saying that her quirk is akin to liquid nitrogen or dry ice. Vapor could be seen coming from her hands, and the only reason she wasn't flash freezing everything were Shoto and Inko. Shotoko was counteracting his sister with his heat, so was Inko. A tiny aura of green could be seen on Inko. Calm down. Your quirk can be dangerous as well, but you're usually so kind that I didn't think it would be an issue. Nana belted out, and Yumi did just that when Inko turned to her and put the helmet back on. Thank you for getting mad for me, but this is a necessary step. If I lose control, a lot of people will die. This briefcase is a means to an end. Plan B, if you will. Right, Master? Nana nodded to say she was correct. The rest of the trip was quiet and awkward for both adults and children alike. Once they made it to the site of the memorial, they could see thousands of people dressed in mourning clothes and holding lanterns. Inko took the helmet off and put the veil on before putting said helmet back on. She really hoped that the design of this quite essential suit would get better eventually. As of now, she's got the cosmologic look that similar to 13 at the moment. Only worse, really. Her suit is bulkier by far. The suit was practical, and a saving grace was the clear visor, but at this moment, it wasn't. Thus the reason for the veil. But it was rather cute, though, and brought some life to the rather lifeless containment suit. That, quite frankly, she would be wearing until technology caught up with her needs. Everyone stepped out of the limo and made their way to the lake. At about this moment, Enji, Ray, and Toya made their way there, just in time for Enji to head up the diamond formation around the children, Inko in specific. They stopped at the list of confirmed dead. It's been months, so most people would have either been confirmed dead or alive. I'm aware that in reality that process might take a whole lot longer, but give me this. Toshinori scanned the list to confirm. Izuku was of course dead, along with Katsuki, Masaru, and, well, crap. This might be the breaking point, but I have to tell her. Toshinori walked back to his goddaughter with a stern look on his face. Inko noticed that he was only holding 6 lanterns. She assumed 3 for him to light and 3 for her. But she had 4 people she cared about. What's going on, Uncle? Inko asked, rather confused. Toshinori sighed and kneeled down to Inko's level. Inko, there's something I have to tell you, but you must promise to me that you will remain in control. I need to tell you this now so you can be prepared for it rather than risk what could happen if you were caught by surprise. Toshinori was delicately holding onto Inko's hand. She nodded. Mitsuki Bakugo is alive, and for the most part, well. After some quick digging, I found out that she's the one that put this event together. We may very well run into it. If that happens, I need you to compose yourself. Enji and Ray stepped closer to Inko. We've got it from here, Toshinori, Ray said in a gentle manner. Toshinori nodded. Toya walked closer to Inko, holding Shoto's hand. You got this? Inko turned to look at Toya, tears flowing in her eyes, sobbing barely enough to be heard, but not enough to set off the Geiger counters that everyone here was wearing. As the group progresses further up, Inko sees the very same mural that she saw while shopping with her adopted parents. It made her look like the bad guy. Again, when Toya saw that, oh hell no. And he charred it to smithereens. Don't worry about those guys, okay? If they want to blame a scared child for their pain, then they're not even worth your trouble, if you ask me. Of course, that made a scene, and some angry mourners noticed a kid set fire to their mural. As they came close to the top floor, Nana and Tarina shut them down. Endeavor was leading the charge. I would suggest that you not point that aggression towards my children. He burned down another one of the murals with a false depiction. It was Fuyumi's turn to speak up. Hey Natsuo! You get the thing? Sure did, sis. Okay, we need a movie screen level of clear ice. Let's do it, Cold Crew. Ray and Inka snorted at that moment. But at Natsuo's request, it was made. Inko, take off your helmet. Inko hesitated. Now, please, Shoto added, and Inko obliged. Veil or not, Inko was now very easy to recognize. A mob was inside it. However, another wall of very strong, clear ice now stood in their way. And of course, the heroes protecting Inko made their stance known. Why are you defending that monster? She killed my baby! A lot of people were shouting at that very loud. A lot of people have lost loved ones in the explosion and even more in the aftermath, after all. However, a bodacious blonde woman at the center took a deep breath. That's enough, you idiots! Do you really think you stand a chance against the absolute powerhouse that is on the other side of the wall? Now shut up and let the girl speak! Mitsuki hollered in frustration, already knowing full well what occurred. Hello, everyone. I'm Fuyumi Todoroki, daughter of the number 2 hero, Enji Todoroki, also known as Endeavor. I understand that you're all in your feelings at the moment, but how do you think she's feeling right now? Inko Midoriya, the girl you like to call an atom bomb, is suffering as well. She's lost people in that fallout as well, you know. You wouldn't know this, but she has nightmares about all the death and destruction she's responsible for. I would know. I live with her. But back to the point. Inko's quirk is amplified by emotions, and I can tell you, Fuyumi pointed to the ringleader of the mob, know exactly what she was feeling. Inko didn't cause this. Your daughter and her nasty crew did. Natsuo, the footage! Luckily, Natsuo had managed to find some footage on the net, but it wasn't really enough and it wasn't clear. However, being the child of the number 2 hero had its benefits, and he made a few calls to heroes that were far smarter than he would be and have a whole lot more resources. To be specific, Nezu and Mirai Sasaki, to get better footage of what actually happened. Angry parents looked on in horror as Inko was clearly being beaten to death before she exploded in obvious fear for her life. Obvious double takes were made. People wanted a villain to blame, but the true villains to blame, the crew bullies, they were already dead. The parents of said crew were crying and in a catastrophic state. Truth hurts, doesn't it? Inko was ushered to the edge of the lake and removed her gloves to light the lanterns herself. Small controlled gleaming flames that were slightly radioactive lit the lanterns. Inko fell to her knees and looked at Engine Ray.
Mommy, Daddy, I want to leave. I don't think I should be here anymore.
Both of them went wide-eyed at what Inko just called them, also while relishing it. That probably wouldn't happen again, and not for some time if it did. Angie grabbed Inko princess style and about-faced with her while she put her gear back on. Now, if I could, a lo-fi version of a certain song by Imagine Dragons would be playing in the scene. But alas, let's get back to the scene, yeah? Endeavor made a quick hole in the ice sheet, big enough to get to Mitsuki, and he placed Inko down. Talk with her. We'll be right over there, honey.
Thank you, Papa Angie.
It wasn't Daddy, but it was something.
How are you alive?
Inko asked the question that was lingering in her head since Toshinori had told her. Mitsuki opens her mouth to explain. That's where we'll leave it. If you like that, United States has smashed that like button. Let's go full calling on the notification icon. Ring that bell, baby. And of course, don't forget, go plus ultra on the subscribe if you're not. Now rest easy, Deadites. And remember,
The night is ours.